The crystal spires of Altara Prime gleamed under the light of twin suns as delegates from across the galaxy gathered for the most important meeting in centuries. The Galactic Council had ruled space for over 10,000 years, bringing order to chaos and civilization to the void. Today they would decide the fate of the newest species to achieve faster-than-light travel. Humanity. Ambassador Thrain adjusted his ceremonial robes as he reviewed the files on his datapad. The humans were pathetic by galactic standards. Their ships barely managed to cross between star systems. Their weapons were primitive fusion devices, and their largest population centers housed fewer beings than a single hegemony mining station. How these creatures had managed to stumble into space travel was beyond his understanding. "The session will now begin," announced the council speaker, a towering figure whose species had evolved from ancient tree-like organisms. "We gather to discuss the status of the species known as humanity and their planet designated as Earth." The chamber fell silent as holographic displays showed images of human cities, their crude spacecraft, and their pitifully small military forces. Several delegates chuckled at the sight of human soldiers carrying chemical projectile weapons. The Dominion representative, General Corvaz, shook his scaled head in disgust. "These creatures are barely evolved from their primitive ancestors," Corvaz growled, his voice carrying the authority of a species that had conquered half the galaxy before joining the council. "Their technology is thousands of years behind our own. They pose no threat to anyone and offer nothing of value to our civilization." Other delegates murmured in agreement. The consortium's trade representative pointed out that humanity possessed no rare resources worth harvesting. The hegemony's military advisor noted that human ships would be destroyed by even the smallest patrol vessels. The assembled beings viewed humanity as they would view an insect colony that had somehow learned to build tiny rockets. "I propose we restrict these humans to their home system for the next century," Thrain announced, rising from his seat. "Perhaps after 100 years of isolation, they might develop something approaching acceptable technology. Until then, they should be prevented from contaminating our space lanes with their inferior presence." The proposal received enthusiastic support from most delegates. A few voices suggested even harsher measures, including complete quarantine until humanity either evolved or destroyed itself. The general consensus was that Earth's children were too primitive to deserve even basic recognition as a spacefaring species. Far beneath the Antarctic ice sheet, Director Walsh watched the council proceedings through humanity's most advanced surveillance network. The hidden facility stretched for kilometers underground, its walls lined with screens showing every major alien world, fleet movement, and political gathering. Thousands of human technicians monitored galactic communications, tracked alien ship movements, and maintained the most comprehensive intelligence network in known space. "Sir, the vote is about to begin," reported his aide, a young woman whose family had worked on classified projects for 3 generations. "The Council is preparing to impose severe travel restrictions on all human vessels." Walsh nodded without taking his eyes off the main display. The alien delegates were exactly as predictable as human psychologists had projected. Their arrogance blinded them to possibilities beyond their limited understanding. They saw what they expected to see: primitive creatures stumbling into space with crude technology and simple minds. "Activate the observation posts," Walsh ordered. "I want full surveillance on every council member's home system. Monitor their military installations, their fleet positions, and their political activities. The moment this vote passes, we begin the next phase." The facility around him hummed with activity as technicians prepared humanity's greatest secret. Hidden in the deepest levels of the complex, massive construction bays housed ships that would have been impossible for any alien species to imagine. These vessels appeared to be simple cargo freighters on all scans, but their true nature was far more terrifying than any weapon the galaxy had ever conceived. The Harbinger-class ships represented humanity's answer to galactic arrogance. Each vessel carried technology that made alien weapons look like stone tools. Their stealth systems were based on dark matter manipulation, making them completely invisible to any known detection method. Their weapons could destabilize planetary cores, crack moons in half, or tear apart space stations with surgical precision. "The vote is complete," announced the aide. "Travel restrictions have been approved by unanimous consent. Humanity is now limited to 12 star systems within 50 light-years of Earth." Walsh smiled coldly as he watched the alien delegates congratulate themselves on their wisdom. They believed they had contained a potential threat while showing mercy to a primitive species. In reality, they had just signed their own death warrants. "Send the activation codes to all sleeper agents," Walsh commanded. "Begin Phase 1 of Project Prometheus. Target selection is authorized. Rules of engagement are now in effect." Across the galaxy, humans who had spent years disguised as traitors, researchers, and refugees received encrypted messages. Most alien species never looked closely at individual humans, considering them too primitive to pose any threat. This casual dismissal had allowed human operatives to position themselves throughout galactic civilization, gathering intelligence and preparing for the day when Earth would reveal its true nature. The council session ended with self-congratulatory speeches about galactic wisdom and the proper treatment of lesser species. Delegates departed for their homeworlds, secure in the knowledge that they had handled the human problem with appropriate firmness and restraint. None of them suspected that their every move was being monitored by the very species they had just dismissed as irrelevant. In the depths of the Antarctic facility, Walsh began the final preparations for humanity's emergence as the galaxy's dominant predator. The aliens had made their choice based on arrogance and ignorance. Now they would learn that humanity's greatest strength had always been the ability to appear weak while growing strong in the shadows. The first target had already been selected, a mining world that supplied rare elements to the consortium's weapons manufacturing facilities. Its destruction would appear to be a random disaster, the kind of cosmic accident that occasionally claimed entire planets. The galaxy would mourn the loss and investigate the cause, never suspecting that Earth's children had already begun their methodical dismantling of galactic civilization. The age of alien dominance was ending, though the galaxy would not realize it until far too late. The morning shift at Kepler 7c's orbital monitoring station began like any other day in the past 300 years. Supervisor Rax reviewed the daily mining reports while sipping his morning stimulant, watching the massive extraction platforms dig deeper into the planet's crust. The world below held some of the galaxy's richest deposits of quantum crystals, materials essential for faster-than-light communication systems. 3 million workers from dozens of species labored across the planet's surface, their cities and facilities stretching across every continent. The consortium had invested heavily in Kepler 7c's infrastructure, turning what had once been a barren rock into one of the galaxy's most productive mining worlds. Transport ships arrived daily to carry precious cargo to manufacturing centers throughout civilized space. "Sir, we're getting some unusual readings from the planet's core," reported technical specialist Vryn, her insectoid features showing concern. "The seismic sensors are detecting patterns that don't match any known geological activity." Rax glanced at the readouts without much interest. Kepler 7c was geologically stable, its core having been thoroughly surveyed before mining operations began. Occasional tremors were normal when dealing with deep extraction work. The planet's crust could handle far more stress than the mining equipment was capable of producing. "Probably just resonance from the deep bore operations," Rax replied. "Log it in the daily report and continue monitoring. If anything changes significantly, let me know." The readings continued to fluctuate throughout the day, but nothing seemed immediately dangerous. The planet's mining operations continued as scheduled, with millions of tons of quantum crystals being extracted and processed for shipment. The orbital stations maintained their regular communication schedules with consortium headquarters, reporting another successful day of production. At exactly 13:47 hours, Galactic Standard Time, every communication device on Kepler 7c fell silent. Simultaneously, The orbital monitoring station lost contact with all surface facilities, mining platforms, and transportation hubs. Emergency protocols activated automatically, but backup communication systems also failed to function. The planet had become completely cut off from the rest of the galaxy. Rax stared at his displays in disbelief as red warning lights flashed throughout the station. Every sensor array, communication relay, and monitoring system showed the same. Impossible result: total communications blackout across an entire world. In 3 centuries of operation, nothing like this had ever happened. Send an emergency signal to the nearest consortium fleet, Rax ordered. Full priority alert. We need immediate assistance. The distress signal reached Admiral Hexon's patrol. Fleet 6 hours later. The Admiral had spent 40 years in the consortium navy, dealing with pirates, system failures, and natural disasters. He had never encountered a situation involving the complete loss of contact with an entire planet. Prepare for emergency jump to Kepler 7c, Hexon commanded. Deploy all sensor arrays the moment we arrive. Whatever happened there, we need to assess the situation quickly. The Admiral's fleet consisted of 3 heavy cruisers and a dozen support vessels, more than enough firepower to handle any conceivable threat in that sector of space. The consortium maintained peace through strength, and their military technology was among the most advanced in the galaxy. Nothing short of a full-scale alien invasion could threaten a world as heavily defended as Kepler-7c. The fleet emerged from hyperspace to find empty void where the planet should have been. Admiral Hexon stood frozen on his bridge as sensors confirmed the impossible. Kepler 7c had been completely destroyed. Where a world once orbited, only a slowly expanding field of rocky debris remained. 3 million beings had been reduced to cosmic dust in a matter of hours. How is this possible? Whispered the Admiral's science officer, a brilliant researcher who had studied stellar phenomena for decades. The energy required to destroy an entire planet exceeds the output of most stars. No known weapon system could achieve this level of destruction. Long-range sensors detected massive energy signatures throughout the debris field, readings that matched no known technology in the galactic database. The power levels were beyond anything the consortium had ever recorded, suggesting weapons technology that surpassed even theoretical possibilities. Whatever had destroyed Kepler 7c possessed capabilities that challenged the fundamental understanding of physics, light years away. Captain Rivers reviewed the mission report from the bridge of the UES Phantom. To any observer, his ship appeared to be a simple automated cargo vessel, one of thousands that moved goods between star systems. The vessel's transponder identified it as a human-registered freighter carrying agricultural supplies to frontier colonies. Target eliminated with 0 complications, Rivers reported to his crew. No witnesses, no evidence, no indication of human involvement. The gravitational manipulation device performed exactly as designed. The Phantom's true nature was hidden beneath layers of sophisticated deception. Its hull contained the most advanced stealth technology humanity had ever developed, making it invisible to all known detection methods. The ship's weapon systems were based on principles that alien science had never discovered, allowing it to crack planets like eggs while remaining completely undetected. Excellent work, came the reply from Director Walsh's command center. Phase 1 is complete. Begin transit to Phase 2 coordinates. Target selection has been confirmed. The Phantom's crew were among humanity's elite volunteers who had trained for years to pilot the most dangerous weapons ever created. They understood the stakes involved in humanity's secret war against galactic civilization. The aliens had made their choice when they dismissed Earth's children as primitive and worthless. Now they would learn the cost of that arrogance. The emergency session of the Galactic Council convened within days of Kepler 7c's destruction. Representatives from every major species gathered to discuss the implications of losing an entire world without warning or explanation. The chamber buzzed with theories about natural disasters, weapon tests gone wrong, and potential threats from unknown enemies. The energy signatures are unlike anything in our databases, reported the hegemony's chief scientist. The destruction was too precise to be natural, too powerful to be accidental. We may be dealing with a new form of weapon technology. Accusations flew between the various species as each faction suspected the others of developing forbidden weapons. The Dominion military claimed the hegemony was testing planet-killer devices. The consortium accused the Void Syndicate of attacking their mining operations. Smaller species pointed fingers at the major powers, suggesting secret weapons programs designed to maintain dominance. Earth's representatives attended the emergency session, expressing appropriate concern and offering humanitarian assistance to any survivors. Ambassador Liu spoke eloquently about the tragedy of losing so many innocent lives, proposing that the Council establish a joint investigation to prevent future disasters. The aliens accepted humanity's offer of sympathy while barely acknowledging their presence. The primitive humans were clearly incapable of understanding the technical complexities involved in planetary destruction. Their simple minds could not grasp the implications of weapons technology that exceeded even the most advanced alien capabilities. Director Walsh monitored the Council proceedings with satisfaction. The galaxy's arrogance continued to blind them to the truth growing in their midst. They would investigate, theorize, and argue among themselves while humanity's planet-killer fleet moved into position for the next phase of operations. The first warning had been delivered, though the galaxy did not yet understand what they had witnessed. The research laboratory on Vega Prime hummed with activity as Dr. Kellen analyzed the quantum signatures from the Kepler-7c incident. As one of the galaxy's leading experts on exotic energy phenomena, she had been tasked with understanding how an entire planet could simply cease to exist. The data made no sense according to established physics, but the evidence was undeniable. The energy release pattern suggests controlled detonation rather than natural disaster, Kellen explained to her research team. Something triggered a cascade reaction in the planet's core, but the precision required would be impossible with any known technology. Her assistant, a young researcher named Turk, highlighted specific readings on their shared display. The gravitational fluctuations occurred in a perfect spiral pattern, working from the outer core toward the center. Natural phenomena don't follow such organized patterns. Kellen nodded as she studied the data. The destruction of Kepler-7c had been surgical in its precision, the work of intelligence and technology far beyond current galactic capabilities. Whoever or whatever had destroyed the planet possessed weapons that made the Council's most advanced military systems look like primitive tools. Continue the analysis, she ordered. If this happens again, we need to understand the mechanism involved. Her words proved prophetic. Over the following months, 6 more worlds suffered identical fates. Each destruction followed the same pattern. Sudden communication blackout, followed by complete planetary disintegration within hours. The targeted worlds seemed randomly selected, belonging to different species and located in various sectors of galactic space. The third incident occurred at a hegemony weapons research facility hidden in the Outer Rim. The planet housed the galaxy's most advanced military scientists, working on projects so classified that even the Galactic Council was unaware of their existence. The facility's destruction sent shockwaves through the highest levels of government as billions of credits in research and development were reduced to space dust. Commander North observed the destruction from the bridge of the UES Wraith, her ship maintaining its disguise as a civilian mineral survey vessel. The Hegemony Research Station had been built inside a hollowed-out asteroid, its existence known only to a handful of high-ranking officials. The facility's destruction required precise intelligence and planning that should have been impossible for any enemy to achieve. Target eliminated, North reported to her crew. No survivors, no evidence, no indication of human involvement. The stealth systems continued to function perfectly. The Wraith's gravitational manipulation device had worked flawlessly, destabilizing the asteroid's core and causing it to collapse in on itself. To any observer, the incident would appear to be a natural disaster, the kind of cosmic accident that occasionally claimed mining operations or research outposts. Excellent work, came the reply from Earth's command center. Phase 2 is proceeding ahead of schedule. All targets have been eliminated without detection. The pattern of destruction continued to baffle galactic intelligence services. Each incident occurred at locations of strategic importance: weapons manufacturing centers, fleet construction facilities, rare element mining operations. The attacks seemed designed to systematically weaken the Council's military capabilities while appearing to be random disasters. Field Marshal Torvik of the Hegemony military was the first to recognize the emerging pattern. A veteran of dozens of campaigns, he had spent his career studying enemy tactics and strategic planning. The recent disasters were too precise, too well-timed to be coincidental. "These are not random attacks," Torvik announced during a classified briefing with high-ranking military officials. "Someone is systematically targeting our most critical infrastructure. The destroyed facilities were all essential to our defense." Capabilities. His superior, General Mordek, dismissed the theory with a wave of his armored hand. "The energy signatures don't match any known weapon technology. Our intelligence networks show no signs of organized enemy activity. These incidents are tragic, but clearly the result of natural phenomena." "Natural phenomena don't follow strategic patterns," Torvik insisted. "The destroyed worlds were carefully chosen to maximize damage to our military production capacity. This is warfare conducted by an enemy we cannot detect or identify." The debate continued throughout the military hierarchy, but most officials refused to accept Torvik's conclusions. The idea that an unknown enemy possessed weapons capable of destroying planets while remaining completely undetected was too disturbing to acknowledge. It would mean that the galaxy's most advanced civilizations were helpless against a threat they could not even perceive. "Captain," Davis positioned the UES Spectre near the Dominion's primary shipyard complex, watching as massive vessels took shape in the orbital construction bays. The facility produced the galaxy's most advanced warships, vessels capable of leveling entire star systems with their firepower. The shipyard's destruction would cripple the Dominion's ability to project military power throughout their territory. "All systems ready for target elimination," Davis reported to her crew. "The gravitational pulse generators are locked onto the facility's central power core." The Spectre maintained its disguise as a civilian research vessel, one of several hundred ships moving through the busy system. The Dominion's security forces paid no attention to the human ship, considering it too primitive to pose any threat to their installations. Their sensors detected nothing unusual about the vessel's energy signature or cargo configuration. "Target elimination authorized," came the reply from Earth's command center. "Execute Phase 2 Objective 7. The shipyard's destruction was a masterpiece of precision engineering. The gravitational pulse destabilized the facility's fusion reactors, causing a cascade failure that consumed the entire complex in a matter of minutes. 27 capital ships under construction were vaporized along with the millions of workers who had built them. The Dominion military blamed the incident on sabotage by enemy agents, launching a massive investigation that yielded no results. Their most advanced forensic teams found no evidence of external attack, no traces of explosive devices, no indication of enemy activity. The facility had simply destroyed itself in what appeared to be a catastrophic accident. Earth's ambassadors attended the emergency sessions that followed each incident, offering condolences and assistance while gathering intelligence on galactic responses. The human representative spoke eloquently about the tragedy of losing so many innocent lives, proposing joint investigation efforts and mutual defense agreements. "These disasters affect us all," Ambassador Liu announced during one particularly emotional session. "Humanity stands ready to share our resources and knowledge to help prevent future tragedies. Perhaps together we can find answers to these terrible mysteries." The alien delegates accepted humanity's offers of sympathy while barely acknowledging their presence. The primitive humans were clearly incapable of understanding the technical complexities involved in planetary destruction. Their simple minds could not grasp the implications of weapons technology that exceeded even the most advanced alien capabilities. Director Walsh monitored the galactic response from his command center, noting with satisfaction that humanity's deception remained intact. The aliens continued to dismiss Earth's children as irrelevant primitives, blind to the growing threat in their midst. Their arrogance had made them vulnerable to an enemy they could not imagine. Phase 2 objectives are nearly complete, Walsh announced to his staff. Begin preparations for Phase 3. Target selection is approved. The galaxy will soon learn that their age of dominance is ending. The Planet Killer fleet moved into position for the next wave of attacks, their crews prepared to continue humanity's methodical dismantling of galactic civilization. The aliens had made their choice when they dismissed Earth's children as worthless primitives. Now they would face the consequences of that fatal mistake. The pattern had emerged, but the galaxy remained blind to its meaning. The emergency klaxons echoed through the corridors of Vega Station as evacuation protocols activated throughout the massive orbital platform. Home to 50 million beings from across the galaxy, the station served as a crucial hub for interstellar commerce and communication. Its destruction would cripple trade routes and isolate dozens of star systems from the galactic network. Station Commander Brix had served in the Consortium Navy for 30 years, but he had never faced a crisis like this. The same mysterious energy signatures that had preceded every recent planetary destruction were now building within the station's core structure. Whatever force had eliminated entire worlds was now targeting the galaxy's largest artificial habitat. All evacuation ships are launching at maximum capacity, reported his operations officer. But we only have enough transport vessels for 20% of the population. The rest will have to shelter in the emergency bunkers and hope they survive whatever's coming. The station's destruction unfolded over 3 agonizing days as the mysterious energy slowly destabilized its structural integrity. Unlike the quick planetary implosions that had characterized previous attacks, this assault was deliberately prolonged, allowing the horror to build while preventing effective evacuation. The attackers wanted the galaxy to witness the slow death of 50 million innocent beings. Fleet Admiral Zoros received emergency authorization from the Galactic Council to hunt down the mysterious enemy. The combined fleet under his command represented the greatest military force ever assembled, with advanced warships from all 12 member species working together for the first time in galactic history. Their mission was simple: find and destroy whoever was responsible for the recent attacks. Deploy all sensor arrays to maximum range, Zoros commanded from the bridge of his flagship. I want every cubic meter of space scanned for unusual energy signatures. The enemy ships must be out there somewhere, and we will find them. The combined fleet's technology represented thousands of years of scientific advancement from the galaxy's most brilliant minds. Their sensors could detect objects smaller than asteroids at ranges exceeding several light years. Their weapons could vaporize entire fleets with single shots. No known enemy could hope to stand against such overwhelming power, Captain Davis watched the alien fleet conduct their search from the bridge of the UES Spectre, her ship maintaining its disguise as a civilian geological survey vessel, the Harbinger class. Ships were so far beyond galactic understanding that even the most sophisticated sensors showed them as harmless research platforms. The aliens were hunting for threats that existed right under their noses. Sensor sweep complete, Davis reported to her crew. The alien fleet is using standard Tachyon detection arrays, gravitational field analysis, and quantum signature tracking. None of their systems can penetrate our stealth technology. The Spectre's true nature remained completely hidden as alien warships passed within kilometers of its position. The human ship's dark matter manipulation systems bent space-time around the vessel, making it invisible to every known detection method. The aliens might as well have been trying to find shadows in the void. Maintain current position, Davis ordered. Let them search. Their arrogance blinds them to possibilities beyond their limited understanding. The hunt intensified when Admiral Zoros decided to test his enemy's capabilities. The hegemony's flagship, Eternal Glory, was ordered to conduct a solo patrol through the sector where most attacks had occurred. The massive dreadnought represented the pinnacle of galactic military technology. armed with weapons that could sterilize entire star systems. If our enemy is truly out there, they will not be able to resist such a tempting target, Zoros explained to his staff. The eternal glory is too valuable to ignore. When they attack, we will detect them and destroy them. The plan seemed logical by galactic standards. No known weapon could penetrate the eternal glory's shields, and its sensors were among the most advanced in the galaxy. The ship's crew of 30,000 included some of the finest military minds in civilized space. If anyone could detect and defeat the mysterious attackers, it would be them. Captain Rivers observed the Dreadnought's patrol from the UES Phantom, his ship disguised as an automated cargo hauler carrying mining equipment to frontier colonies. The Eternal Glory was indeed an impressive vessel by galactic standards, but human technology had evolved far beyond such crude designs. Target acquired, Rivers reported to his crew. The enemy flagship is maintaining standard patrol pattern. All weapon systems are charged and ready. The Phantom's gravitational manipulation device locked onto the Dreadnought's reactor core, a fusion plant that generated power levels comparable to small stars. The human weapon worked by creating precisely controlled gravitational fields that could destabilize atomic structures at the quantum level. The Eternal Glory shields were designed to stop energy weapons and kinetic projectiles, not attacks that altered the fundamental forces of reality. Execute target elimination, Rivers ordered. The attack lasted exactly 4.7 seconds. The Phantom's weapon sent gravitational pulses through the Dreadnought's core, causing its fusion reactors to experience cascade failure. The massive ship split in half as its power plants consumed themselves in an uncontrolled fusion reaction. 30,000 beings died instantly, their vessel reduced to expanding plasma and debris. Fleet Admiral Zoros watched his flagship's destruction with growing horror. The Eternal Glory had simply exploded without warning, its sensors detecting no enemy activity, no incoming weapons fire, no indication of external attack. The most advanced warship in the galaxy had been destroyed by an invisible enemy using incomprehensible technology. How is this possible? Zoros whispered to his staff. Nothing could have penetrated the Eternal Glory's defenses without being detected. Our sensors show no enemy ships in the area. The Admiral's science officer, a brilliant researcher who had studied physics for decades, reviewed the sensor data with growing confusion. The ship's reactors experienced simultaneous failure across all power plants. The probability of such an event occurring naturally is essentially zero. Something caused this, but our instruments detected no external interference. Panic began to spread throughout the combined fleet, as crews realized they faced an enemy that could destroy the galaxy's most powerful warships without being detected. The mysterious attackers possessed technology so advanced that galactic science could not even comprehend their methods of operation. Continue the search, Zoros ordered, though his confidence was shaken. Deploy all available resources. Scan every ship, every asteroid, every trace of matter in this sector. The enemy must be out there somewhere. The hunt continued for months. As alien fleets searched desperately for traces of their invisible enemy, trade routes were abandoned as merchant vessels fled to the safety of heavily defended systems. Colonial governments recalled their exploration fleets, afraid to venture into the void where death could strike without warning. Earth's ambassadors attended the emergency sessions that followed each incident, offering condolences and assistance while gathering intelligence on galactic capabilities. The human representatives spoke eloquently about the need for unity in the face of unknown threats, proposing joint defense initiatives and information-sharing agreements. These attacks threaten all of us, Ambassador Liu announced during one particularly tense session. Humanity's resources are limited, but we stand ready to assist in any way possible. Perhaps our fresh perspective might help identify patterns that others have missed. The alien delegates accepted humanity's offers while barely acknowledging their presence. The primitive humans were clearly incapable of understanding the technical complexities involved in fighting an invisible enemy. Their simple minds could not grasp the implications of weapons technology that exceeded even the most advanced alien capabilities. Director Walsh monitored the galactic response from his command center, noting with satisfaction that humanity's deception remained intact. The aliens continued to dismiss Earth's children as irrelevant primitives, blind to the growing threat in their midst. Their arrogance had made them vulnerable to an enemy they could not imagine. Phase 3 objectives are complete, Walsh announced to his staff. Begin preparations for the final phase. It's time to end this charade and reveal humanity's true nature to the galaxy. The Planet Killer fleet moved into position for the ultimate demonstration of human power. The aliens had searched desperately for their invisible enemy, never suspecting that the primitive humans they dismissed as worthless were the architects of their civilization's destruction. The hunt had failed, but the galaxy would soon learn the identity of their true predator. The final session of the Galactic Council convened under the heaviest security in the organization's 10,000-year history. Representatives from every member species gathered on Altara, primed to address the crisis that threatened to destroy galactic civilization. The agenda contained only one item: the complete quarantine of humanity and their primitive homeworld. Council Speaker Vorth called the session to order as armed guards took positions throughout the chamber. The recent attacks had claimed billions of lives and destroyed dozens of strategically important worlds. Fear had replaced the confidence that had once defined galactic leadership, and desperate times called for desperate measures. We have gathered to address the ongoing crisis facing our civilization, Vorth announced, his ancient voice carrying the weight of millennia. The evidence suggests that our security has been compromised by unknown infiltrators. All recent additions to our membership must be considered potential threats. Ambassador Thrane rose from his seat, his ceremonial robes rustling as he addressed the assembly. The timing of these attacks coincides with humanity's admission to our council. While we have no direct evidence of their involvement, their primitive nature makes them susceptible to manipulation by hostile forces. The proposal was brutally simple: completely isolate Earth and its colonies, strip humanity of all galactic privileges, and maintain the quarantine until the current crisis was resolved. Several delegates suggested even harsher measures, including the destruction of human settlements to prevent them from being used as enemy bases. The humans are too primitive to pose a direct threat, General Corvas declared, his scaled features twisted with contempt. But their simple minds make them perfect tools for our true enemies. We must eliminate this potential weakness before it can be exploited further. The debate continued for hours as alien representatives discussed humanity's fate with the casual indifference of beings swatting insects. The primitive humans were clearly incapable of understanding the complexities of galactic politics, making them dangerous liabilities in the current crisis. Director Walsh monitored the proceedings from his command center, watching as the aliens sealed their own fate with characteristic arrogance. The time for deception had ended. Humanity's true nature would be revealed, and the galaxy would learn the cost of underestimating Earth's children. Activate all fleet units, Walsh commanded. Drop stealth protocols and reveal our true capabilities. The galaxy has made its choice, and now they will face the consequences. Throughout the galaxy, 12 Harbinger-class vessels simultaneously abandoned their disguises and revealed their true nature. The ships that alien sensors had dismissed as primitive cargo haulers transformed into weapons of unimaginable power. Their hulls reconfigured as advanced armor plating emerged from hidden compartments, their weapon systems activated with energy signatures that dwarfed the output of entire star systems. The UES Phantom materialized directly above Altara Prime, its massive form casting shadows across the planet's crystal spires. Captain Rivers watched as the alien delegates finally understood the scope of their miscalculation. The primitive humans they had dismissed as worthless insects possessed technology that made their most advanced weapons look like crude tools. "This is Captain Rivers of the United Earthship Phantom," his voice echoed through every communication system on the planet. "We are humanity's planet killer fleet, and we have come to deliver a message your species will never forget." Panic erupted in the council chamber as representatives realized they were staring at the very enemy they had been hunting. The mysterious attackers who had destroyed worlds and eliminated entire fleets were the same primitive humans they had just voted to quarantine. The revelation shattered their understanding of galactic politics and their own technological superiority. "Impossible!" Thrain screamed, his voice cracking with terror. "Humans are barely capable of interstellar travel. They cannot possess technology that exceeds our own capabilities." Similar scenes played out across the galaxy as human ships revealed themselves near every major world, space station, and fleet concentration. The aliens who had dismissed Earth's children as primitive savages found themselves facing weapons that could crack planets like eggs. Their most advanced sensors had been completely blind to the threat growing in their midst. "The evidence suggests otherwise," Rivers replied calmly. "Your arrogance has made you vulnerable to possibilities beyond your limited understanding. We have been watching you, studying you, and preparing for this moment since the day you first dismissed us as irrelevant." The Phantom's gravitational manipulation device activated, sending invisible pulses through Altara Prime's core. The demonstration was subtle but unmistakable, causing minor tremors that reminded every being on the planet that their world could be destroyed at any moment. The same technology that had eliminated dozens of worlds was now poised to crack the Galactic Council's homeworld. Fleet Admiral Zoros attempted to rally his forces for a final desperate assault, but the combined fleet found itself outmatched by technology centuries beyond their understanding. Human ships moved through space like ghosts, their weapons striking with precision that defied comprehension. The galaxy's most advanced military forces were reduced to scrap metal within minutes. "Your weapons cannot penetrate our defenses," Rivers announced as alien warships exploded around the Phantom. "Your sensors cannot detect our presence. Your minds cannot grasp the principles behind our technology. You are children playing with toys while adults conduct serious business." Director Walsh's voice echoed through the council chamber as he addressed the assembled representatives for the first time. The man who had orchestrated humanity's rise to dominance spoke with the quiet confidence of someone who held the fate of entire civilizations in his hands. "You have spent centuries conquering and subjugating species you considered inferior," Walsh began, his words carrying the weight of absolute authority. "Your entire civilization is built on the principle that might makes right, that the strong should dominate the weak. We simply ensured that humanity would never be counted among the weak." The alien delegates sat in stunned silence as Walsh continued his address. "Every destroyed world was carefully chosen to weaken your military capabilities. Every eliminated fleet was selected to reduce your ability to threaten Earth. We have spent years systematically dismantling the foundation of your power while you dismissed us as primitive insects." Ambassador Thrain struggled to speak, his voice barely a whisper. "How long have you been planning this? How long have you been deceiving us?" "Since the moment your species first achieved faster-than-light travel," Walsh replied. "We knew that. Eventually we would encounter galactic civilization, and we studied your history carefully. Your treatment of primitive species told us everything we needed to know about our likely fate. We chose to ensure a different outcome." The revelation struck the assembled aliens like a physical blow. Humanity had been preparing for galactic contact for centuries, developing weapons and strategies while pretending to be struggling primitives. Every interaction with alien species had been carefully orchestrated to maintain the deception while gathering crucial intelligence. "The mining disasters, the fleet explosions, the planetary destructions," General Corvaz gasped. "All of it was your doing. You have murdered billions of innocent beings." "We eliminated military targets and strategic resources," Walsh corrected. "Your own histories show that you would have done far worse to us given the opportunity. The strong survive, the weak perish. You taught us that lesson through your treatment of countless primitive species." Captain Rivers monitored the global communication networks as news of humanity's revelations spread throughout the galaxy. Alien worlds that had dismissed Earth's children as harmless primitives now faced the terrifying reality of human technological Superiority. The species that had seemed barely capable of interstellar travel possessed weapons that could destroy entire star systems. What do you want from us? Council Speaker Vorth asked, his ancient voice heavy with defeat. What are your terms for ending this campaign of destruction? Walsh smiled coldly as he prepared to deliver humanity's final message. We want recognition of Earth's true position in the galactic hierarchy. We want full membership in the Galactic Council with all privileges and voting rights. We want acknowledgement that humanity is the dominant military power in known space. The terms were simple but devastating. The aliens who had ruled the galaxy for millennia were being forced to accept humanity as their superiors. The primitive species they had planned to quarantine was now dictating terms to the entire galactic community. And if we refuse? Thrain asked, though his voice carried no real defiance. Then we will demonstrate the full capabilities of our planet-killer fleet, Rivers replied from orbit above Altara Prime. Your worlds will burn, your fleets will be destroyed, and your species will learn the true meaning of primitive behavior. The vote was unanimous. Every alien delegate formally recognized humanity's technological superiority and granted Earth full membership in the Galactic Council. The species they had dismissed as barely evolved primates were now acknowledged as the galaxy's dominant power. Excellent, Walsh announced as the vote concluded. We accept your gracious offer of full membership. Earth looks forward to working with all member species to ensure galactic peace and stability. The irony was not lost on anyone present. The aliens who had built their civilization on conquest and domination were now subject to the very principles they had enforced on others. The strong ruled the weak, and humanity had proven itself to be stronger than anyone had imagined. Captain Rivers ordered the Phantom to begin its return journey to Earth, its mission finally complete. The blue marble that had birthed humanity hung in space like a jewel, beautiful and serene despite the technological marvels hidden beneath its surface. The galaxy had learned a harsh lesson about underestimating Earth's children. Mission accomplished, Rivers reported to his crew. The galaxy now understands humanity's true capabilities. They will never again make the mistake of dismissing us as primitive or irrelevant. The age of alien dominance had ended, replaced by a new era where humanity held the ultimate authority. The Galactic Council would continue to function, but under Earth's watchful supervision. The species that had ruled through fear and superior technology now served at the pleasure of beings they had once considered worthless. Director Walsh closed the communication channel and turned to address his staff. Phase 4 is complete. Begin preparations for the transition to open governance. The galaxy is now exactly where we need it to be. The secret war was over, but humanity's true work was just beginning. Earth's children had proven they could destroy their enemies with ruthless efficiency. Now they would have the chance to show the galaxy what they could build when no longer forced to hide in the shadows. The stars belonged to humanity now, and the galaxy would learn to adapt to this new reality.